your voice, your vote now. Now we're less than 30 minutes away from polls opening on this election day. Before heading out to cast your vote, joining us this morning is Kent County Clerk Lisa Posthumous Lyons. Thank you so much for waking up early with us and speaking to us live.
Oh, good morning. Happy Election Day.
Happy Election Day to you. Now, how should people prepare to cast their ballots if they're still needing to vote?
Well, there's a whole lot of voters out there that still have to cast their ballot. We've concluded early voting. We've got almost all of our absentee ballots in, and we're at about a 44% voter turnout. So I know that there's a lot of people who are going to go and make their way to the polls today. They're open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you are in line at 8 p.m., you will still be able to cast your vote. So don't let that deter you. You can find your polling location at kentcountyvotes.com. Outside of Kent County, you'll want to go to michigan.gov/vote. But the bottom line is we're ready, and we want to make sure that you have a great experience. First of all, it looks like you might need to bring an umbrella, but you'll want to have your ID with you as well. In Michigan, we're required to show an ID. If you don't have one with you, then you can still cast a ballot. You'll have to sign an affidavit attesting you are who you say you are, and you do that under the penalty of perjury.
All right, so a couple of things you'll want to have with you, that umbrella and that ID. Now, of course, a big topic of conversation this election cycle here in Michigan and across the country, of course, security and integrity. What can you tell people to let them know you can trust the results that come out in this election?
There's so many checks and balances that we have in our elections here in Michigan, and it's so important. It's not just a one day and done deal. Election workers, our local clerks, my office, my team, we've been preparing for months for this election. There's so many things we do before the election, during voting, and then also after the election to ensure that they're secure, transparent, fair, and accurate. So we've trained almost 2,000 election workers to be at the polls and absentee counting boards. We've tested all of our equipment leading up to this election to make sure the machines are functioning properly, they're counting votes accurately, and we've done extensive work with the Kent County Sheriff's Office and federal agencies just to ensure safety and that we're ready for anything that may arise.
Lisa, so impressed with all your energy this morning. I know you have a long day ahead, so appreciate you waking up early with us.
Thank you so much.
And turning now to the historic day ahead that we've been covering all morning, voters will help choose our next president today. And that's not all. There are also Senate and House races on the ballot, as well as several issues for voters to decide on. We're joined again by our Tanner Holbrook, live this morning with a preview of the big U.S. Senate race between Democrat Alyssa Slotkin and Republican Mike Rogers. We'll check in with him shortly. First, Aaron Sullivan live in Grand Rapids with what's expected at the polls today. Aaron, less than a half hour before they open.
Absolutely, Emily. Workers are setting up right now, getting ready for those voters to come in early, starting at 7 a.m. this morning.
Aaron, thank you. Such important information this morning. We really can't go over it too many times. Let's bring back our Tanner Holbrook live this morning with a look at another pivotal race for our state. Democrat Alyssa Slotkin and Republican Mike Rogers going head to head, battling for an open Senate seat. Tanner, what are experts saying about what that race means, not just for Michigan, but the nation?
Yeah, so let's first start off with the latest polling data. Right now, the polls are saying that Alyssa Slotkin has a very slight edge against Mike Rogers.
The lead up to the election, all the ads and tension may have you feeling a bit stressed. Election anxiety is a real thing. Ways to cope next.
Stories impacting you and your community. 13 on your side. Sponsored by Lake Michigan Credit Union.
Welcome back. As voters head to the polls in just 20 minutes now, they'll see plenty of security measures in place to make sure their ballot is counted fairly and accurately. Joining us with more on this morning, we're joined again by political science professor Dr. Kyla Stepp. Thank you again for joining us this morning and waking up early.
Of course, happy to be here.
Awesome. Now, of course, going back to that election security, really a big topic of conversation, especially after the 2020 election. And though it was proven that our system was sound at that time, we're still seeing changes made. Can you explain why those changes have been made and why that is?
Sure. Well, as you said, the evidence showed over and over how safe and secure the 2020 election was. However, voters still have the rights and want to feel secure, right, when they go to the polls. So some changes have been implemented just to make sure that voters feel extra safe and secure, and know that their vote is being counted and know that the integrity of the system is in place.
Excellent. And so can you talk more about why voters should feel confident in the results that come in, whether it's tonight or over the next couple of days? Can you just help to reassure them that we should trust those numbers and those results?
Yes, so there are levels and levels of protection in place, both when you go to the polls and submit your ballot, to the counting of the ballots, to the certification of the ballots. It's never just one person who kind of looks over your ballot and counts your vote. It's never just one person who double checks everything. There are people from both parties involved. There are multiple election officials involved at every step along the way, just to, again, have those layers of protection and security. So everyone should know that their vote is being counted properly.
Such an important point that those on both sides are really overseeing that process. Lastly, we know more than 3 million people have already cast their ballots even before polls have opened. We're about 15 minutes away now. How will this early voting impact how quickly we may see the results here in our state?
Well, the hope is that it will speed things along a little bit as we get the results. Not only have so many people already voted, but there are new rules in place to allow counting of those absentee ballots a little bit earlier, so the poll workers and election officials don't have to wait until 8 p.m. to start counting those as well. So with any luck, we'll get results a little bit earlier this year, so we'll at least know where Michigan stands.
All right, we know voters are anxiously waiting. Dr. Stepp, can't thank you enough for waking up early for what will likely be a busy day for many of us.
It will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, you're waking up to a rainy election day this morning. We're watching the radar, and Sam is back with a look at your full forecast after this.